I make a motion to open the meeting.
Second that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so, what are we all doing?
Nice day.
It is. So I guess we could just start. Is there anyone here who has anything they'd like to speak of? Anything that's not on the agenda? No? Okay, so let's get right into approval of minutes, August 1st and August 29th, 2016.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for August 1st and August 29th.
My second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so let's move right into special one days. First, East Hampton Rod and Gun Club.
Good afternoon,
Howdy.
folks.
What do we got?
Ball fishing derby, which is not on Father's Day. That's it, you know, Friday afternoon, Friday night, Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. And are the hours the same? I mean,
Yeah,
I know
we
you
shut down.
you've kind of been changing it and making
Well, we're
them
just-
earlier and
Well,
then earlier.
no,
Earlier
it's,
start.
well, starting times are as
Yeah.
what you allow.
Right.
And, you know, we shut down at 9 o'clock and 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. We try to be, you know, neighbor friendly, and we haven't had a complaint yet.
We haven't heard about it.
And it's just for the benefit of, you know, we lose money on the kids derby. So we're trying to make it up.
You're just not serving enough alcohol. It's serving.
No, it's tough because the kids, you know, it's 6 through 13 or something. Yeah, no wonder the bar goes to empty.
Yeah.
And Kelly, the paperwork's on file for all of them.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
I make a motion that we approve the one-day permits for September 16th, 17th, and 18th for the East Hampton Rod and Gun Club.
My second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
You're all set, John.
All right,
Give-
thank you. We'll catch you later.
Yep, stop in tomorrow.
All right, see you later, folks. Have a nice weekend.
Okay, you take care.
Monday. That's what happens when you work 2 weekends.
Okay, next special one day for abandoned building brewery.
Hello again.
Hello again.
So we have two we're applying for right now. The first one is for this Friday, September 16th, from 4 in the afternoon till 10 at night.
Oh, thanks. Matt, just for the record, can you just state your name?
Sure. My name is Matt Tarlecki. I'm here for Abandoned Building Brewery in East Hampton. The first one day is for this Friday, September 16th, from 4 to 10 p.m. It's for another installation of our Food Truck Friday event to be held in the back parking lot of our building. Same conditions applied before. We're going to have food truck vendors come out with a band outside and doing our beer garden in the parking lot. We have everything roped off, like an orange snow fence with one entrance where people are ID'd at the front. Tip certified people are IDing and also pouring beer outside. And then the second one for the exact same situation is going to be October 7th, the first Friday in October, same hours from 4 till 10 p.m.
Same type of event.
Same exact event with the food vendors, a live band outside, and the outdoor beer garden.
Any questions? Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the one-day permit for September 16th for abandoned building brewery.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion that we accept the special license for one-day permit for the abandoned building brewery, October 7th, 2016.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you guys again.
Thank you.
Take care.
And just mailing those is fine.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks.
All right, next up, progress report, Michael Barrett.
How you guys doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. A little over a year ago, I dropped off my final architectural plans and existing building evaluation prepared by my architect to the building department. We had some disagreements in the interpretation of a couple code laws. They were unable to remedy that on a local level. So I had to call the state building inspector. Recently, those issues have been resolved and I can resume with construction. But I've been held up this entire time over some building codes.
Okay.
That's it. I spent my last year waiting to get that remedied.
So what's the timeline now?
Hopefully we can break ground in construction and be done in a couple months. I mean, I've been 3 months away from construction from the finish date for a very long time, but you can't do that without the building permit. And I've been held up this entire time on that.
So 2 more months, it's gonna be ready to,
Well, I mean, that's out of my hands. That's the contractors. So how, they tell you a few weeks, but that, we all know that turns into 6 weeks, it can turn into 2 months. But I'm ready to go. Everything's, for the last 2 years, all my restaurant equipment, my restaurant smallwares, restaurant furnishings, light fixtures, they've all been in storage units that I've been paying for.
Your financing still in place?
Oh, actually, I'm not even financing, paying cash. All my money's in my checking account, ready to go. So, I've just been waiting this entire time. But it has been resolved on the state level, and I can push forward.
so I know you don't have the permits, but could we walk in there now
Yeah, absolutely. I'd gladly
and
give you
sit
guys.
right at the bar or whatever?
No, there's no there's been no construction.
No.
But you could,
There's still no
you could easily
construction.
come through. I'd gladly show you the space, and I can show you the blueprints and point out where everything's going. But yeah, the handicap bathrooms haven't been built yet. My hood system's not installed. Everything's held up waiting on a building permit. So, I mean, I think since our last meeting, the only thing that I was able to do was get the electricity to my house upgraded for the new services and gas upgraded, HVAC units. That's pretty much all I can do without an official building permit in regards to the construction of the restaurant.
So when will that be?
As soon as I land the building permit. So it just was recently settled. I would assume I'll have my building permit very shortly. So,
Yeah, 'cause I've been on here 7 years now,
No,
and
it's always been something.
it's always something.
But it's, like I said, it's been over a year since I've submitted
Yeah.
my blueprints and my existing building evaluation.
So optimistically, you could be starting in 3 months, optimistically.
Optimistically, yes. Yes.
So you probably won't be ready to do anything till
Well-
next year sometime.
Oh, yeah, I would say by the time you actually officially open, yes,
Mhm.
I wouldn't open the week of Christmas, that wouldn't be smart.
Yeah, 'cause that was a 3-year license or something, wasn't it?
No, the language gave me 3 years to apply for it, and then I applied for it within that window of time. And then went straight to my architect and started having plans drafted up, so.
I know the architect, then it was the concrete guy, then the
Oh,
electric guy.
yeah, it's been ongoing. And it's a relatively small project, it's 800 square feet.
Yeah.
So it's a relatively easy project to expedite, you would think, but that hasn't been my experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So do we want to just check in and?
And you're more than welcome to come do a walkthrough, I'd be more than happy for that, I mean.
Don't need to see, there's nothing to see.
There's nothing to see, it's an empty room, it's an empty
No,
room.
I'll drive by sometime.
I'd just like to have an update in like 4 months,
Sounds fair to
after the
me.
first of the year.
That sounds perfect, yeah, I'll gladly do that, sure.
Okay, well, I appreciate you coming in.
All right, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
We're just trying to find out, Mike,
Oh,
what's going on.
absolutely, I would've came early if I had something to report, but I was just held up downstairs, so, yeah, thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care.
Okay.
Approved.
Is there anything else before
No,
we
I
get
don't-
started with these?
There is.
There's not.
Seen the first stuff.
All right, so let's move right into the continuation of these public hearings. So, start off with news license application for Luthier's Co-op, a continuation of the public hearing. Can I get a motion to continue this public hearing?
I make a motion that we continue the public hearing for Luthier's.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Aye. Okay, so is there anything new here since we did our walkthrough?
Not really.
Okay.
No.
I think we should put in the minutes that we did do a site visit
Good.
on,
I think
let's
Colette knows
see,
she was there.
15th, August 15th.
Okay.
What's all those group highlights?
I think it's just the web.
No, okay.
All right, Nikki, everything's in order as far as paperwork.
I think I just have a note, but that would be for me to follow through.
Need paper ad.
Just- Yeah, and that's something that I can follow through with, statement. I just need some extra things for the file,
Okay.
like the original paper ad and things like that, so
Oh.
that's.
Isn't that what's right
I,
there?
yeah, I brought that in.
That's right, that must have happened after the fact. Yeah, I'll go through this tomorrow, but as far as the paperwork that you need to review, it's there.
Okay. Any interest? You've already been through it.
No, I'm fine,
Yeah.
I don't have any questions.
Any questions?
No, we already went through everything.
Anyone in the public have anything they'd like to say on the matter? Okay. Then if there's nothing further, I would entertain a motion if anyone has one. Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the all liquor license for Luthier's Co-op.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good, follow these. Good.
So now we approve the budget.
We do.
That's it, right?
This is an application for the
I'm just gonna look at my sticky notes for those. Those are the ones
Yeah, sure. I think that all has to come together.
Amy, do you have the original ad? Do you happen to have the original ad of the paper? And those green cards that you just handed me, that was both of them, right?
Yeah.
You
that
just
was all
put,
I know.
yeah, okay.
The originals,
Okay, so it's 5:30. Can I get a motion to continue the public hearing for Amy's Place Incorporated?
I make a motion that we continue the public hearing for the new license application for Amy's Place,
I
doing
second.
business as the library.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so. Hello?
Hello.
So is there anything new that is going on?
Nothing
here
new.
On your end?
No.
Okay. Nicolette, anything you wanna share with us at all? It's new with this, okay. Well then, before we get started, can we just clarify, I assume that does not need to be any order on how we're addressing the two things that are in front of us?
Yes, because one's
Because
subject
one
to
is
the-
separate to,
It's
sorry,
subject-
second?
Subject
Yeah.
to.
Subject
you
to,
have
so I
do-
mean,
yeah.
technically, it's a separate public hearing.
Correct.
Okay, fine. So then, that one is. So that has to come first.
No.
No,
the
no,
other
no.
This one comes
Yeah.
first,
Yes.
then the alteration.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so, we had a chance to visit the property, and you're gonna put that into the record as well. Thank you. Discussion? Kelly?
Yes,
Anything?
I just have some questions. So by separating out your businesses, did you have to create a separate business now for the library?
I will, yes.
So it'll be
Because I
separate
have, it's a
business?
separate, number for buying alcohol.
Okay, so
So
separate
it's
business,
not-
separate
yeah.
books, everything is
Correct.
separate?
Yes, but, it's gonna still be under the umbrella of the same corporation
Okay.
for insurance purposes and liability and stuff. But I can have, like, I have a property, company built underneath my corporation as well for, because the property's owned by Amy Florick.
Mhm.
So everything is underneath the corporation, so it will technically be another business, and it will have another number as far as, because the license number, although I don't think the licenses have numbers, but they're by addresses.
Mhm.
And it will be, to the alcohol companies, so.
And do you pay then your revenue tax and everything is paid separately for each business?
It
to
is not
city?
now, obviously, but it will be, yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I pay the state online, and then the state pays you,
Mhm.
so yes, that
Okay.
it will come out.
It's two separate, it will be if this gets granted.
Oh,
it'll be two
actually,
separate-
I don't know about that, I have to ask my accountant on that,
Okay.
about what, I mean, it's all reported on my computer system anyway, it's broken down as to where the, income comes from.
Okay.
Same as like the food and liquor, like when I go online to pay my taxes, the liquor's broken out, the food's broken out separately. So it'll probably just be in that liquor, but I have all of the books and the bookkeeping for it.
We're just trying to determine if it's a completely new entity that's going to be having this, and that's what it sounds like.
Well, technically, yes, absolutely. With tying the new license to that address, it will be a new business.
Okay.
I mean, it's a business already functioning the way it is, but it will technically be a new business.
It's gonna be a new business, so it's gonna be.
Well, it's
two
gonna
separate-
operate obviously the same as it is, except for that I don't have to have a door, and I can also, buy the alcohol separately for that,
Right.
instead of taking it out of whatever in my books and saying, you know, I bought $500 for the library, and then I brought in $1,500, on revenue on that 500, it will already be done.
And that's what I meant by separate
Yes.
books.
So, yeah.
Yes,
Separate bookkeeping,
yes. Yep.
separate books, yes.
You got two different deliveries.
Yep, so if, you know, if something ever happened and I don't have one or I don't have the other, you know, it's got its own license and it's not tied together. I mean, that's the whole reason for this.
Yeah, so you can't borrow back and forth.
Right, like my original license was tied to my original property I bought, and then I bought the commercial condo, and I used it as the banquet, but now I'm using it as a complete separate business.
Okay, so what about
And
your
yeah, so if
food?
that does answer the question, yes, all this stuff is gonna be,
No, that answered
the
my
accounting
question.
is all separate.
So your food for the library,
There's no food in the library, there's
There-
only the platters, but the platters will be purchased from Amy's place.
They're gonna be-
It's a wrapped platter,
so you'd
it's
have
not.
to bring it outside and come in.
Well, yeah, technically, from Amy's place, I'm gonna bring a platter,
Outside.
and I'm
And
gonna
then-
give it to them, and they're gonna put it in the fridge like they do now, and then they serve it.
From
there.
you, yeah, but they would have to go outside the business.
It's not like a waitress though, that they
Yeah,
order and they
no.
go out. It's not
No.
like that.
It's
right?
already prepared,
It's-
so it's a platter of meats and cheeses, it's already prepared, it's wrapped, it's brought to the library, and then when the girls are gonna, if you order one and you're in the library, the girls get it from, the refrigerator of, that they have, that they store that in. And then no one's bringing anything through the back door, or it's not exposed to elements, it's all wrapped up package.
Oh, okay, that was
That's, yeah,
understood.
that's all.
Yeah, they're not connected.
I mean, everything else now, like, you know, the storage for the basement is all, like, if it's olives or cherries or any of that, you know, it has its own things
Yeah.
already as it's functioning. You know, they don't go back and forth to Amy's place to have to run through to get it.
Yeah.
They have their own supplies.
They have to run through each building, or?
Nope.
No, no.
Nope.
Not really. Well, no, yes, it did,
Okay.
yes. So, what exactly is the benefit to you, again, for doing this?
Because it's worth more money. I mean, it's a whole nother business entity
Mhm.
in its own right.
Mhm.
And if there's a day that I need to sell Amy's or the library, it has a value on it because it's a separate business right now and it's not tied. Not to mention, as it is now, anything I do to the library also goes through the condo association because that is under its own roof. And Amy's Place itself, the way it was set up before I bought that space, is mine. Like, no one can tell me what to do or what to, you know, how to do any renovations or any of that,
Right.
those kinds of things.
Right, I mean, it's an obvious benefit, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's huge. It's huge as far as me having a business or, you know, if I ever lease the space and I'm not gonna ever have somebody else running a business out of there if it's my liquor license. You know what I mean? I mean, that'd be foolish. I mean, if someone else ever leased that space or bought the business and not the building, I would never want my name tied to a license that I was not involved in, you know, implementing.
Right.
Didn't you, I'm just trying, didn't you say the last time that you were here that you wanted this over-quarter license in the new business?
Mm-hmm.
So
Correct.
when you sold the business.
If I
you'd be
did,
able to-
I'm not intending on selling anything right now.
No, but I thought
the
you
fact
said
that the licenses and people are doing it, I have a business that's already contributing to the town,
Yeah,
and I would like it to be worth its own weight as
Yeah.
its own separate business with a license that actually is tied to that address.
wouldn't they be able to just apply for their own license?
Not if there wasn't one.
Well, they could get a little.
You know, I mean,
older.
I mean, I guess you could, but down the
Yeah.
future, but I'm not gonna look into, you know, 5 years down later and then I'm stuck without it when I have an opportunity to be able to make this business its own now.
Yeah, okay, just ask some questions.
Yeah, no,
You know,
no, whatever you,
because they're gonna ask, you know, the ABC's gonna ask.
I already spoke to the ABCC.
Oh, you
I
did?
spoke to the state,
Okay.
so I, you know, cause I wanna make sure I did it correctly too. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't wanna get stuck without a license.
Well, we're
somewhere,
trying to
so.
make sure we do it.
Yeah, no, so I called and I, you
Yeah.
know, I asked the questions about that and about putting it back to the other license, and he said as long as it's contingent on, the approval of the license for
Oh, okay.
78, that the other one could go simultaneously, so I don't lose time like to be closed or whatever.
Okay. I don't have any more questions, you guys.
Right. Well, I guess my problem with it is that when these new licenses became available to the
Mhm.
town, city, you know, questions were asked by us exactly how to go about approving these licenses.
Mhm.
And of course, the first thing that came up was, well, they were technically earmarked for downtown business and industrial, the industrial district, which seemed, okay, pretty obvious.
Yep.
And then it kind of became not so obvious because then, well, how do you weigh one over the other if one's not in that specific district? But maybe it's a better proposal, it's that. So
Right.
the bottom line really was, well, whatever's really best for the city, whatever is gonna benefit the city, is this license really gonna have a direct benefit to the city? Which was the way, I guess, we're looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
And with this, although I see how it's gonna benefit you.
Yep.
Definitely, I fail to see really the direct benefit to the city. So maybe you can help me with that. I mean, because you're already
Well,
operating.
Fine, I
day-to-day.
know, but financially, I'm saying is, if it was it wasn't me operating this instead, it's worth something to someone else. If you wanted to, buy it, or you had whatever, it's already a functioning bar, and it makes money, and it's paying taxes, and it's buying a license, and it's doing whatever. You're gonna give me money for that business on its own, not tied to Amy's place.
Right.
But you can't come in there and buy that from me, without having a license.
Right. You'd have to get a license.
Exactly, you would have to try to get a license, but you're not gonna buy that business from me without the license. If it's an operating business, what if you didn't get approved? You're gonna hand me $300,000 and you don't know whether you're actually gonna have a license for it.
Oh, I understand.
So
Yeah.
you're not gonna,
Yeah.
give me anything, so. I've been downtown business, I've paid my taxes, I've done my share, I feel. I'm just gonna continue to pay taxes and meals taxes on what I serve in there. If for some reason, I needed to sell it or I wanted to sell it, it's not gonna have the value. And I don't know whether it would be another open storefront on Cottage Street or not. Right now, I'm in the process of still building it up. And I feel like getting in on the ground floor is making it worth more money.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
And I could.
And so, I feel like it's another downtown business that actually has a liquor license that is gonna stay with the city. It's gonna stay attached to the property. It's not going anywhere else. It's functioning every day, and it is bringing in revenue. It's bringing revenue into me and to the people that work there, and the people I employ, because I have 3 or 4 more employees, and as well as the taxes.
And it's doing that now.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yep.
So I guess my point is that because currently we have these licenses available that are easier than they were before, of course, to issue, because of the steps that we went through, the city council went through to get it
Yep.
approved through the legislature. And it seems to me that these new licenses that we have are really been earmarked for something new for the city, something
That is new. It's only a year-old business. Like,
But it's existing,
not
but it's already
established.
operating under the heading of, it's the living room, but it's Amy's, so it's still a functioning business.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess
Well,
I.
right now it is, yes.
The library, did I call it the living room?
That's okay.
That was a bar, I think, in Minneapolis, a long time ago, sorry. No, probably. But what I'm saying is that, other than maybe you're gonna be purchasing things differently, and you're
Correct.
then going to be able to possibly raise some prices on drinks, because you can't do that if you have separate licenses
Correct.
now, or you have
Yes.
the same license now. The direct immediate benefit to the city, I don't really see it as if this license were to become available to someone else who was starting a business, it just seems like that's what these licenses were really earmarked for. And correct me if I'm reading this wrong.
Well, the only thing that I would inject here is we've got somebody who has a given record with a very successful business, and if by giving her a license, there's a very good chance that it's going to succeed and keep going and keep bringing in revenue, where a new business may not. You know, and I do see them as 2 separate businesses. I see it as 2 entities. I see it as Amy's Place and I see it as the library. That's why I was asking her about how she would be paying, and I think that she would probably be paying more in her revenue taxes with the 2 separate entities, because you're not combining it together, so now you're.
Well, the percentages are still the same, but
Right.
yes, my point is to, what you're saying is to elaborate on that, is that to make it a successful business so that it continues to grow. It's only a year old. And as it grows, obviously the town's gonna get more money from, what I'm selling. And if I do have higher prices, obviously the percentages are, on the higher amount of money, so the income's still gonna be consistent. And it's gonna keep coming in, and hopefully come in at a higher and higher amount, and, letting me function this as a business that's gonna grow on Cottage Street, I'm not going anywhere. I, you know, I feel like it's only gonna get better and better, and it's gonna give more revenue to the town.
The one other.
Whereas,
thing-
I mean, and honestly too, for myself, I'm like, I don't know, like I have been here for a while, and I don't see this business going anywhere except for up. I think everyone obviously says that, but, my track record's pretty good, and to maybe give it to someone else that, maybe they're gonna do this, or maybe they're gonna use this license, or maybe they only want it for a couple of days a week, or I don't know how that's more fair than me using it every single day and paying my taxes. And
But you're already using the license for the exact same thing.
my point is that what is the incentive to make this business grow on its own and to keep it going for downtown Cottage Street? It's only making, if you're in business, you're in business to make money. So as you're making money, I'm giving more revenue to the town. These are my incentives for this. This is to make it grow, to keep it going. It is a new business. It's just, it's worth more money to have its own license. And I feel like it's already gonna be giving the city money, and hopefully it's gonna give the city more money, you know, as I grow.
So then, your argument would be that having this license to then separate them will give you more ability to grow this portion of
That piece of business,
this
correct.
business right
The
here.
library.
The license is going to help you grow.
Exactly. Yes, I honestly feel that 100%.
I think the one other thing that we need to take into account too, these licenses have to stay on the premise that they're issued to.
That's correct.
That building really isn't going to be anything more than what it is right now. If it was to be sold, it's going to be a bar.
Yes.
And it will continue. If somebody was to come in and buy it, if you was to sell it and someone came to buy it, that's what they would be using it for, as a bar. It would keep that license there.
Okay.
Well, that brings up a point.
But there are other places that they could sell it, but it's not necessarily gonna be used as a bar.
Okay.
So that's one of the things I think we need to keep in consideration on that.
You were saying?
Yeah, that brings up a point that when we did the onsite, that when we were there, you said that there was people that were sitting in the library part that wanted to go over to Amy's place. And you
Well, I
stopped
don't
them
want,
from going
I
over
don't
there.
want them to, because I'm trying to create a different atmosphere. And once you open it up, now it's just an extension of Amy's place instead of, now it's a whole new entity of the library, whereas you might not wanna go listen to people hoot and holler at a football game, but you would like to sit and have a nice drink with your date, and, you know, and then you're gonna stay longer and you're gonna spend more money as well. Those are more advantages of me cutting that off as well, because that's another reason that I can up my revenues, hopefully, that people, you know, wanna stay there because of the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is completely different, and that's what we've worked so hard to, you know, get to right now.
Yeah, because the way, like Kelly was just saying, that part of the library is being run like a bar right now.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's what you would end up selling as a bar.
Yes.
Okay. I guess I'm not totally convinced. I see what you're saying, Kelly, and I mean, the one problem I have with that argument is that, you know, I don't know that you can say 20 years down the line what Cottage Street is gonna look like, since it's changed so much in the last 20 years anyway. I mean, if it is gonna help your business grow,
Yes.
and that's important to the city, and that's the only thing, I mean, I don't,
I wouldn't even ask for it if I didn't-
don't
if
think
I
that
didn't
I mean,
believe that.
I understand, I mean, you have a good business, and you benefit, it's a benefit
it's
to the
excellent.
community, there's no disputing that. It just, again, the only thing I wanna keep as a board, our eye on, is that there was a reason that these licenses were issued, and when I asked specifically people who led the charge on getting these legislative licenses that were more readily available for us to issue, specifically, okay, give us some, guidance here, because had no, we really didn't have any part in that process. And the bottom line was, well, let's just make sure it's something that is to the benefit of the city. And that's the bottom line criteria.
And I feel that this is a benefit to the city, and I wouldn't ask for it if I did not feel that way. I've been here, I think my track record's pretty proven that I'm here for the city, I do whatever I can for the city, for the schools, we do fundraisers and golf tournaments, and we give back to the community, and I just feel like it is a benefit.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public have anything they'd like to add or on this matter? If you do, just raise your hand, state your name. No?
I'll say something. I guess,
Name, please, for the record.
Stephen Bear. I hear what you're saying, that it might not seem like there's an immediate benefit to the town, but I really do think it would provide a longer-term benefit to the town. Just if she ever got to the point where she would have to sell it, it ensures that there will be like a classy bar on this side of town. The only thing comparable in town, I think, is a cellar bar in terms of like classiness. Because otherwise, if she has to sell in the future, it's going to just go away. But it's nice having, I just think it ensures that there will always be a nice, because with that small capacity, you have to have higher level drinks in order to make it lucrative. So I think it just ensures that there will, for the long term, be a classy entity bar on this side of town. I think it's a more of a long-term benefit to the town. That's all.
Thank you.
I think it's a good diversity.
Okay. Ray, do you have anything?
No.
Kelly? Okay, then can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the all liquor license.
Well, before we do that, don't we have to?
No, they're separate. Separate.
Separate.
They're separate.
Yeah,
Yes.
but how do we,
We're gonna have
before
a-
we do
We're gonna-
that?
We're
You're
gonna
gonna
have,
approve this?
we're gonna do that, approve it, and then we gotta,
Open
we
that
have to
and then approve that.
reopen. We have to
Well, that's
reopen
what I was
the
gonna
public
say,
hearing.
we gotta, because that's already licensed. We have to do an alteration of premise
We are.
first.
We
That's
do that
next,
next.
right?
Okay,
Right, that's
before
next.
we grant,
No,
No,
No.
no, it's,
I don't know.
it's at the same time, Ray.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Continue.
please.
I make a motion that we approve the all liquor license for Amy's Place doing business as the library.
Okay, I approve. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Just one. Okay, so, moving on.
Yes.
I make a motion that we continue the public hearing for the alteration of premises for Amy's Place.
Ready, 1 second,
I second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Okay, so, the next step.
All right.
Basically, this just
Yes,
rides
yes,
on
it
that.
is.
They go
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
Yes,
you
yeah,
know,
they
so-
go hand in hand.
Ray, so this is just the next step. Okay,
Okay.
all right, so,
I
make a motion.
make a motion that we approve the alteration of Amy's Place to go back to the original 80-82 Cottage Street.
I second it. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're good.
We are. Moving on. So, 5:45 public hearing, new license application under the Bridge LLC.
I make a motion that we open the continuation of public hearing for the all liquor license for Under the Bridge LLC.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Mr. Bundy?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, so starting off, do we have anything new? Mr. Bundy, do you have anything you want to?
You asked about what we've been doing events, and I took 2015, a full calendar year of what we did in terms of alcohol, non-alcohol, all the different events that happened in our space. And I broke out sort of arts-related public events, and there were 33 in that year, and there were 10 private parties. And then in the non-alcoholic area, we had 76 classes and workshops and 35 public events, art events and meetings, and then 3 private events that didn't involve alcohol. Part of the narrative of why we want to switch this over is that we're recognizing that the events are sort of getting squeezed out by classes and other things we're making publicly available. So we're looking at, we've identified other space within the building to try and take the classes and the other things and put it into that and get some critical mass around our events with the alcohol. It's hard to scale up when you're only needing bartenders every so often. It's hard to scale up when it's sort of trying to manage an operation that's just too low a scale of operating. So, that's our plan, that's our design. And I think it's sort of a sign of what's going on in the Mill District, and the West End 160 space has been a part of that, and we'd like to move forward on that.
Okay, Nicolette, you have anything? Is there anything new,
No.
or anything at all, Vicki? No. Kelly?
Well, I have a couple of things. When you were last here, I told you that I felt that we had issued quite a few special one-day permits for this event room, and you had said no, that we had not, and yes, we did. I have 5 here that.
Didn't answer to them.
Okay.
Will hasn't answered that.
Okay.
That space is called the ballroom, and that is a big, large, 12,000 square foot space that sits at the other end of the building. It's not actually Suite 160.
And here lies where the problem is when the special one days come in, they are going to need to specify the exact suite. And with some of those, it was not. So
Okay.
when Mr. Bundy contacted my office, I read him the list off of the events, and that's when he indicated it was in that larger ballroom.
Okay.
And not in the space that had been originally brought up.
Okay, that answers those things. My other concern is the room of which you're looking to associate this license with is just a room. There's nothing in it, it's a room. There's no plumbing to it, you don't have a bar. When people do want alcohol there, you have a roll-in bar that just rolls in there, correct? On your website, it talks about that this is kind of like the affordable community room that you bring your stuff in, you take your trash out, you sweep up the floor after you leave. To me, that's really a low-end event place, that a community room is really where most people are gonna be doing community events where there's not gonna be alcohol.
Well, we would like to change that. I think that's the very reason we're doing this.
I can understand that, but I think you would have done some renovations to the room to prepare it for that you were trying to be more of an event banquet area where the alcohol is being served. You give me something that has 114 without alcohol versus 43 with alcohol.
Yeah, well, I think in fairness to myself, I've explained to you what we're doing. I mean, I'm a building I'm a landlord and a community member who's providing public space, and I learn from what I do. And basically what I've learned is I've got to sort of turn it up a notch, and the event side of it that is alcohol related needs its own space. We've bought many tables, many chairs, and you know, the access and the usability are a part of it, and we feel that the alcohol is a part of the engine of being able to offer that and put that out there. I mean, I think part of the equation that's being missed there is that we're doing something that is providing a community service, and we're not doing it at great benefit, and we're trying to change that equation. And to add to your notion of what the space is, what our plan is, you know, there are 76 classes and workshops. Ideally, what we'd like to do is we'd like to cut that down dramatically, and we've identified another space where classes and workshops can come and be, so that we can then scale up to that. So part of it is where I'm heading and where I'd like to take it, and part of it's my reputation in terms of being able to deliver and make those kinds of changes.
Are there any plans to renovate that space to make it more of a banquet hall, like Kelly is mentioning? Or do you plan just to keep it the way it is?
Well, part of the advantage of the space is that tables and chairs can be stored anywhere. And so that's the thing that we have, is we have a lot of tables and chairs that we've invested in. And there's a lot to be done in the back if we really thought we could go with the alcohol in terms of doing the plumbing and making it an easier site for a caterer to work from and so on. But in the present situation of having a beer and wine, there's not a lot of motivation with that.
And this is also a room that does not have facilities in the room, correct? You have to go out into the hall and down the hallway to use the facilities.
Yes.
Brad, do you have anything tomorrow?
Not right now.
Brad?
No.
Okay. So, I mean, it's essentially the same space, just you're gonna be able to serve more than just beer and wine. Right. And you anticipate that if you're able to serve beer, more than just beer and wine, that you'll have the opportunity for more booking.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone in the public have anything they'd like to add? Any questions? No? All right.
Can I ask a question? Is that okay? I'm sorry, I should have said it 2 seconds ago. I'm Stephen.
Sorry.
Stephen Bear. I'm just curious, does it, is there another license?
Ask the question to the board.
I'm curious if the applicant has another license currently, and if so, how often that entity is open to the public?
I can say, yes, he does.
Okay.
And I don't know how often it's open.
So, the 121 Club, which used to be the Apollo Grill, is what you're referencing.
Yeah.
Right. And we are in a weird catch-22 in that with the development of the property in the back and the issue of access in terms of, we have a 50,000 square foot building that's completely empty that sits behind, and another 50 feet beyond where the Apollo was is where all the new access is gonna come in. And the design and where that comes through is eventually gonna come right through the 121 Club. But until I've resolved engineering and other issues, I can't make those changes and make that change to the next phase of what the 121 Club will be.
I remember you telling us that.
And so, and as a business, knowing that I'm gonna do these dramatic changes to the space in the future, to sort of go whole hog into something that in the next, what I hoped was now, but now maybe 6 months to 8 months, it doesn't make sense to go whole hog into that business, which is a stationary
An
environment.
overquota license, is the 121 license an overquota license?
No. It
So
was
that
what
can
it was.
move wherever you need it to move to.
Mhm, mhm.
I think that's something we need to take into
Well,
consideration.
but it's a different entity and a different purpose. So while we're there, it's a set seating, it's a bar, it's open, we're opening it more and more often. We have a Thursday night jazz series.
Who's your manager for that liquor license?
I'm the listed manager, and I'm also.
So you're there when there's events happening?
I'm there when events are happening. So it's a different beast. It's got a full kitchen. It's set seating, and right now it's performance. There's music. There's a drink and draw night. There's
So you don't see the two competing with each other?
I don't see them. They're completely different. I mean, what you have when you have an empty room, where you have a large variety of tables and chairs offered, you're really talking about weddings. You're really talking about the EAT event that happens with ECA Plus. You're talking a whole different variety of things that can happen.
But you were talking about, though, that in 6 months, that may not even be there. That you're
That's
gonna-
not what I'm saying. I'm saying that a part of that space, I'm gonna have to take a part of that space to give it an access to this whole new part of the building. And I can bring in that design if you would like to see all that and what we're trying to attempt to do back there.
I think what my main concern is, like, what you've given us here, that you've had 43 events with alcohol. There's 365 days in a year. 43 is not a lot of events with alcohol. I understand I don't really think it's going to make that much of a difference if you're doing beer and wine, or you're doing all alcohol in the amount of events that you have in there. I don't think that that's gonna make that much of a
I
difference.
think it's a chicken and egg kind of scenario. I think that's a little bit,
But I
that's a
think
little
this
bit
is.
hard. And I also, in all fairness, I think that we're growing a business, and we're growing and adapting to what we think the market is, and we're learning as we go. And I think that again, the track record of my businesses in terms of doing that has been very beneficial to the city. So I feel like the measure is a little bit unfair.
So you certainly are, just the mere fact that you're gonna be able to serve, again, that you're gonna be able to serve
It's gonna.
a more diverse,
It's
you know.
gonna change who calls us up and what they're looking for.
Right. And you had said at the previous meeting that you know of at least one fairly good-sized event that you lost to the Elks Club in Northampton.
Yeah.
What was it? What was the one, it was a pretty big one that I saw they went to the Elks Club.
I
Yeah,
don't keep track
anyway,
of my
but still,
losses,
yeah.
but I'm
Maybe
like,
should.
there are that's too long a list. But
Right. But you're saying,
But I-
certainly, would you say that you could easily double the amount of events that you have in there?
Oh, easily, yeah. And with the switch that we're making, where we're gonna be offering classes and other things, I feel that would be very effective.
I think I would just be more comfortable if I saw that you were planning on upgrading the room and bringing in a freestanding bar, something that really is showing that this is a banquet area. It's set up for that type of thing, instead of just rolling in a bar. And I would think you would need something like that if you were going to have an all-alcohol license, because you can't put all that alcohol in one little rolling bar. So is that your plan, if you were to get a
I think the
license?
plan would eventually be to put in a fixed bar, absolutely.
So, Kelly, so I can understand where you're coming from on it. So, are you saying that more so the almost part-time nature of this space is giving you pause?
Yes,
Okay.
and I can understand that, yes, it might bring in more revenue and everything, but I think I would have liked to have seen a plan that would have said, okay, this is what we're planning on doing. We're gonna build this bar, we're gonna have this bar in here, we're gonna make this look more like an events
place. I mean, right now, when I go on your website and I look at it, it talks about that, you know, this is the affordable banquet room to have, that, you know, you self-service program through which we provide. You know, to me, that's not expanding, that's like trying to just make it affordable that anybody could be in there, and if somebody's looking for that, they're not gonna be looking to be buying drinks. They're looking to have an inexpensive place to have their meeting.
But, okay, yes, and that is what it is right now, and we are looking to change that if we can do that. I don't,
I think it would have been more comfortable if that was in your permit, you know, that, on your floor plan, in your permit, that you showed a bar. That
Mhm.
it's not, because all it is a room right now, that's it, it's just a room. And I think that's what, you know, makes me step back a little bit.
I guess, you know, I hear that and I see that, and I'm just sort of a little bit sort of caught short, and I could come back with such a plan as to where it would go if we had the license, but I'm, you know, basically the context is these licenses came up, and I saw where it was heading, and I thought I should come and get one and get on to it.
And that's
you know.
understandable.
And so I feel that the timing and the swing of things is, I'm both being penalized in that these things just popped up, and two, that I'm right now doing an important part of the city's work in terms of offering affordable space to people, and it seems like I'm being penalized for being affordable.
No, I don't think you're being penalized
Well,
for it.
that's the way it sounds, because I'm trying to do it in a very, I mean, anyway, I think it's an important part of the fabric of the town. I think it's an important place that I'd like to grow. And I think, again, my commitment and my follow-through is pretty well documented.
Ray, do you have anything you wanna add?
I'm just listening at this one.
You wanna look at this while I'm
Yeah,
looking
it's
at
just,
it?
please, just for a minute.
I think I would be more comfortable if we just had a plan in there that shows where a bar would be put.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's nothing saying that we can't continue this public hearing.
I will happily
If you would feel
provide
more
that.
comfortable.
I
doing that.
really do.
Okay.
I feel that it's gotta be something that looks like it's gonna be here for a while.
And do you want a timeline to accompany that?
For the next
I
meeting.
sort of like the idea too.
No.
It can be just drawn on
That's
the
fine.
paper and attached to the application, because then it's something, if you don't move forward, we can always come back and say to you, this is what you gave to us, you know,
mhm.
what's happening?
Yep.
And I think that's my main concern, that it needs to look
I
like
do
the
that.
functioning room that that you are applying for it to be.
Okay.
Ray?
I like the idea of having another postponement,
Okay.
you know?
What is it?
He agrees with you. All right.
And we can have I don't care if we have a special one or whatever.
Should
Say that again?
He's saying if we could have a special meeting, it doesn't have to be a month from today.
Yeah.
Well, for you to do something like that, take you a week.
Whatever's fine.
I mean, I'm not putting the pressure on you, I'm saying that we'll make ourselves available to you. If it's-
Yeah.
I mean, if it's 2
Okay.
weeks, tell us it's 2
I
weeks.
wanna see that floor plan.
I will know my timeline tomorrow when I talk to my architect.
So we're clear then, how about, Ray and Kelly, who are really spearheading this, if they could jot down what they would like to see specifically, email it directly to Nicolette, and she'll
That's
get it to
great.
you, so that when
That's
you come
great.
here and let's say,
Really, all I wanna see is a
No,
bar.
but I think that's
Yeah.
great. If it's verbally out there, then it's not the game of telephone with my architect.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
that
So,
would be beneficial.
we'll have it we'll, come up with a list for you of what we want to see.
Great.
And it'll be
Yeah.
emailed to you, okay?
Appreciate that.
All right, do we want to tentatively set up another, meeting time? Can we do that? Okay.
So before our next meeting,
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Keep it rolling.
2 weeks out?
I mean, unless you wanna wait another month, I mean, I assume you don't.
I don't wanna miss out on a license, I don't wanna also.
Well, you-
live-
No,
You
you,
won't
you,
miss
You won't
you've
miss out
got,
on
no.
one.
We won't
Since
allow you
the
to
public
miss
hearing
out
is
on
just being continued, we're not closing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not,
You're not guaranteed, but you've not lost your place.
No, we
You're not losing
won't
your
put you on
I'm
the
not losing
bottom.
my place, then I'm.
Then you wanna go to our next scheduled
I'm-
meeting?
I'm totally fine with that.
Okay,
And that
fine.
gives me more time with my architect, actually.
Yeah, we
Because
wouldn't do that,
if the
yeah.
plan is gonna be the litmus test of what you're gonna hold me to, I'd like more than 5
Okay.
days to think about it,
Okay,
all right?
all right, so that would be for, I make a motion that we continue the public hearing for Under the Bridge LLC new license application to October 3rd.
October 3rd,
Wanna second that, right?
that's fine with me.
Okay,
Yeah.
that
Thank
sounds like
you.
a second to me. All in
I
favor?
Second.
I get what you're saying, thank you for that.
Good, all right, let's do it.
Yep.
So, you guys are going to email specifically which,
I will
even though I
take-
think Will has a pretty good idea of
Yeah,
what it is
I will
you're
take care
looking
of
for.
it, yes.
Thank you.
All right, is it 6 o'clock? Yeah. Could I have off the max paperwork, please?
Okay, so next up is Off the Map Incorporated new all alcohol license continuation. Any motion?
I make a motion that we open up the continuation of the public hearing for the new license application for Off the Map Inc.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, okay.
We did a site visit on the
Yes.
16th for this one, so.
So, is
15.
anything new at all that you would like to bring to us?
Since we spoke at the onsite, it's, we're still interested.
Nicolette, do you have anything?
I do not.
No? Questions from the board? Kelly?
No, I was fine with our site visit and the questions were answered.
Okay. Ray?
No, I think we had our questions asked at the onsite.
Okay. Anyone in the public have any questions, input at all whatsoever? Okay.
I make a motion that we.
I'm not ready.
Yes.
You make a motion, he's ready to from me.
Okay, go ahead.
Now you put me on the spot, I gotta think of something.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I actually, no, I don't really have anything. I just wanted to say that, you know, I was impressed with it, and I thought it was, you know, it certainly, I think, be a very nice addition to downtown, so, yeah,
You've
that's all
done
I.
a wonderful job already.
Just wanted to meet the
Okay,
boss,
you
I
wanted to
guess.
get, now may I make a motion?
You can't do it about clothes.
Just a quick question.
State your name, please.
Mary Suarez, I'm a reporter with Springfield Television. Is the license, is it for the entire, like, could you describe the license premise to me?
I believe is described in the application as the entire building,
Yeah.
which
It's
on the
84
plan-
Cottage Street, two-story building, first floor to be licensed.
First, the entire first floor?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Consisting of 6 rooms.
So,
All
you
right.
made a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the all liquor license for Off the Map Inc.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
It is past 6:15 too.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, take care.
Moving on, continuation of public hearing, new license alcohol for community food and LLC.
I make a motion, we open the continuance of the public hearing for the new license, the alt license application for Community Food Engine LLC.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? For that.
Ditto.
So, anything new at all?
That just said we've opened.
I'm sorry?
Just so the site visit for that was on the 8th.
Okay, we are a stickler for this.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry.
We've
anything?
now opened, which is the only thing that's really new.
Yep,
And,
okay,
everything seems to be working.
okay. Any questions, from anyone on the board? Kelly?
Nope, I was very happy, it was a very nice place, it was very
Mhm.
nice. Definitely different. That's what we need, diversity.
Ray?
No, I have none.
Nicolette, is there anything you wanna add?
No.
Anyone from the public have any questions, anything like that? Ma'am?
Yeah, Mary Ceres, reporter, Springfield Republican. Same question, could you just describe the license premise?
Do you wanna take this one away?
We are half of the second floor of a building on Mill 180.
Half of the second floor of the entire Mill 180?
Yes, it's approximately 14,000 square feet.
Okay, 14,000 square feet. That's the license, that would be the license premise, 14,000 square feet.
Right, approximately, yes.
I think so. I did have one other question. Remind me, as far as the separation between the dining area, the seating, which is to the right and to the back of where the bar is, and the flow of going from the bar area, which blends in with the main floor area, to where the dining area is. I remember initially, and this caused a little bit of confusion, initially when you had your first licenses, that there was going to be some sort of delineation between those two spaces. We had talked about this at the first site visit, not this site visit, but the first one. And the question came up, well, will that be just simply gated off for people to not be wandering back and forth? But then it was clarified, since the entire premise is licensed, there you can essentially get something from the bar and you can walk around, and especially if you're having functions there, which is, you know, the purpose of the stage that you have.
For full events,
Mhm.
the space is licensed, and we
Right.
Understood from the board
Mhm.
that people can have liquor throughout if it's an
Right.
event space.
So-
For our regular, which is what we've been having so far,
Right.
except for our big night,
Right.
for each person who comes up, we make it very clear to them that they can only drink at the bar area
Mm.
and in the tiled area where the dining,
is.
seating area is.
Right.
And they've been very fine. We made it very clear that if we want to keep our liquor license, this is where you have to be, and they've all been very fine with that. And we haven't really seen people wandering around. If someone forgot to tell them, if anyone's wrong, we say, you've got to stay there. We've not had a problem with that at all. You talked about whether, when we went at your first visit, because we're still in construction mode,
Right.
we had used a rope to
Mm.
delineate the space for you. But it was to show you where it would be because it was still under construction. That's pretty much, I would say, delineated by the boardwalk area in front of the bar, and then the tiled area where the chairs are.
Right. So there's no actual signage there saying, please do not, please do not cross this area, whatever.
I'm not sure if it's in our bar rules. We have bar rules over the board, but we did say, but we can't put the specific signage. We have been telling everyone, and it's been fine.
I mean, because the difference is that unlike a bar, I mean, where you can't walk outside with the
Mhm.
drink, I mean, this is a little different because it is a licensed area, so this is less of a regulation, more of a preference of the facility.
Right, no, we've made it very clear that if you're asking me to put up specific signage there, we can certainly do that, but it is delineated by the walk, and we have not had, and we tell everyone, and so far we've had no problems. As a matter of fact, when people were playing cornhole, we set up a little wagon and the wagon blocks the bar from the grassy area, and they put their drinks in the wagon on the other side when they wander over to play cornhole. So no one is moving with their drinks outside the bar area.
Right. So you'd prefer people aren't walking around with drinks
Oh,
if it's
yeah.
not an event?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's what you told us to do.
Right.
And we're quite happy to do that.
Well, that's what we originally had said, and then I think that we kind of went back and forth on it, like, well, what kind of sense does it really make if it's...
Our preference, just for the ease, because people, they do wonder, what we've seen and how they use the space,
Right.
especially the new people, they come in, and whether they have a coffee or they're walking with their family, with kids, they want to wander. So when we say to them, you can't, if we had a choice, we would ask that it be throughout the space. You've set limits, parameters, within which you would like us to comply, and we will abide by those parameters. If you're asking me if my preference would be, and if it's much better, I think, for our patrons to have the ability to walk, because it is a space, it is a great space for people to walk. Sometimes a lot of people want to sit in what we call our little mushroom house with their drinks, as opposed to somewhere else. They want to sit there and talk. Groups of people would come in, and they just have informal meetings, and they would talk there. And it would be much better for us if it would. It's easier to do that. And people have not been, and we walk around and we see who's coming and going. It would be my preference that they have it fully without the restrictions. But it is the board's, we will abide by the board's limitation if that's what you
Are you on
impose.
site most, every day?
Well, yeah. 1,400 days, as I discovered this weekend. And I'm tips, and there's always someone.
The whole space is quite
So there really
Yeah.
isn't
I know,
any.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think you're a little confused, because they
The whole
can.
space is.
It is,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, but you've asked us not to, so
Right.
we've told people not to unless it's a.
Right, but I mean,
special issue.
and this was where the confusion, where I think it came up in the initial walkthrough, because if it's being used as an event space, which is the reason why you have the whole area to be licensed, is so when you have an event, if you're having it's a banquet, a wedding, a concert, or what have you, you want people to have the ability to be walking around.
Right.
With a beverage, with
Right.
alcoholic beverage. And I see that. I'm trying to get my mind around, well, when is it not? When are you comfortable with people not doing it? When, you've already said when you're comfortable with it, when you're not, but when are you actually enforcing it, saying, okay, definitely you're not doing it now? Is everybody who's working there on board saying, okay, that gentleman just bought a beer, he's now going to the mushroom house? Tell him no. I mean, is that, and are we all comfortable with that being what it is, right? I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's just I kind of want you guys to be on board with a concept that is yours, a concept that's not ours, when really the only thing we care about is making sure that it's being watched, is the only thing.
Yeah, but if it's
It's
licensed,
licensed for the whole place, why does it have to be watched? Why can't they have?
They walk out the door?
Yeah, no one is walking out.
I don't think.
But I
they
think
would be
people
like
can walk
walking
out the
door
door
anywhere
even
else.
if it's an event.
True.
If it's a wedding event, people can walk out the door just as easily.
Yes.
And probably more so. We just haven't, we
I don't think so.
It's fine. It's a different concept,
Yeah.
so I just need to get, it just is for my benefit to make sure I'm understanding it. is it, because it's one thing, and we've run into this more times than you imagine. It's one thing one day, and it's a completely different thing another day.
Is your question, when is it an event and when it's not an event?
Yes, because one day it's an event. At one time it can be an event space, and at one time it's not an event space.
Oh, I think we can make that distinction.
Of course.
I'm sorry, I'm
But
confused though.
regardless
We
of it
have-
being an event or it
Mm.
not
Not
being
event.
one,
Right,
still
it's still
licensed.
licensed. I know, I
Exactly.
understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. That's why when there was confusion on the first site visit that we did before
Right.
this license. Well, why are we even asking you to put signs up in the first place?
Exactly.
I did ask you that question.
Right, we didn't know, because we were like, well, wait a minute, why are we asking you
And
to
I'm
put
hoping
signs?
now that you've seen the space as it's
I know.
final, that
Right.
it may be that we
That
do
it
it
would- it should make more sense to me,
occasions.
right?
Right.
Yeah, okay,
It
it's not.
definitely does make more sense now that the space is finished and you can see
Yeah.
for what it is, yeah.
But at the same time, you're saying that you're actively discouraging people on a day-to-day basis from taking a alcoholic
Based
beverage and
on-
walking
But they
around.
base
Advice
on
Based
what
on
you
what we're
said.
telling you.
Yes.
Right, based on,
Yes.
So you actually want people to be walking around on a daily basis with alcoholic beverage?
I shouldn't say I see no difference. I certainly see a difference between a
Mhm.
coffee and a glass of wine.
Right.
But in terms of how the people are wandering through the space,
Mm.
it's curiosity. It is just a park. They're
Mhm.
walking and talking, and they want to not be limited to sitting. They want to be able to sit on the amphitheater. They want to be able to sit on the grass,
Mm.
which in the areas where they cannot drink, based on our understanding from other board ones, they
Mm.
can't do that.
Mm.
They want to get a drink and go into the mushroom house and sit and drink, rather than just sitting at the bar. And they're talking and they're looking around, they're looking at the production room and the plants growing, and they like to be able to wander. I think it's just easier. I think it's more comfortable for people. The space is one for people to enjoy in its entirety.
I almost
Um,
think it would limit
it's-
your
It would
growth
certainly
by
do it if,
making them sit in one
Right.
area.
Yeah, if
and you
it's,
can't get up and
I agree.
play, right.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
my
I-
preference would be to
yeah.
have it, as we already have it,
Mm.
an event space, license for the entire event space without,
Right.
this.
yeah, if the
for that
place is,
event.
if
No
the
restriction.
building's
Yes.
licensed, that it's not up to us to say they can't walk around and how you're gonna stop the people from going out. That's up to your
Oh, right,
You-
right,
yours-
right.
your problem.
Regardless.
Oh, forgive me for contradicting myself. I mean, I know I am. Okay? Believe me, I am. I'm just trying to get, and hey, I'm a slow learner here, okay? It took me a while to understand that, you know, a
Yeah.
guitar shop could be a bar and a music venue at the same time.
Yeah.
That took,
I
Mr.
mean,
Barrett, you can attest
go
to
into
that.
any restaurant for
It took me
fire.
actually going there and seeing the concert to get it, okay? I'm sorry, you know, I'm trying to get the concept in my head so that when I'm approving it, saying yes to an approval of this, that I got, you know, I'm completely understanding how this is gonna work. Because it's essentially an indoor public park, right?
It is. an
Somewhere you're gonna bring your
public
children, correct?
park. Oh, yeah.
And you're
they're
gonna
all
walk
over.
around with alcoholic beverages. Do you do that at Look Park?
I don't know what.
Do you do that at Non-Duck Park?
I don't know what their restrictions
Okay,
are.
I mean,
I
what
don't
I'm
know,
saying
I
is you
haven't
don't,
any-
and that's, and I'm not saying I'm not trying to say that they're exactly, you know, equitable, but what I'm saying is that it's sort of the same thing.
Does either of
and-
those parks have a restaurant? Do people expect to come and eat and get food and drinks? in
No,
the city?
no.
Thus, the idea of whether or
Well,
not you
sort
can
of,
walk
but, yeah, I
around
see where you're
drink.
going with it, yeah, okay. Again, I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying, I'm just trying to fully understand it in my head that this is an appropriate thing to be walking around with children in an indoor park and consuming alcoholic beverages.
Right, and if you think of the parks as well, to the extent that the parks allow people to have
Sure.
tents up for weddings and what have you, they walk through the parks
Good.
with their alcohol and their kids at events that may be hosted in the parks.
All right. Great, I'm convinced.
You okay now?
Thank you. Indulge me a little bit, would you?
You're a meanie.
And don't pick on baseball, because it's different.
Everybody drinks at baseball.
I'm never
but they're
taking
kids.
you to Six
That's what
Flags.
convinced me.
Yes.
Does anyone in the
Is that
public
what
have
you-
any other questions? Okay, please.
I make a motion that we approve the all license for Community Food Engine LLC.
May I ask a question? Is this?
Is it okay if I second
Wait,
it?
wait.
But did you
Yeah,
without
I second.
restrictions?
It's without
It's
restrictions.
gonna be without.
Okay,
Without
great.
restrictions.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. You seconded that?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Opposed?
I wouldn't
Thank you.
Kelly, can I have a ride home?
Okay, you know, I'm just trying to protect the children.
Yeah, the kids that you take to the baseball game. Yes, I get it. Or the hockey
All right,
game.
all right, all right, all right. Great.
Football game, tailgating. Yeah. Sorry, not gonna get it from me on that one.
Can I get a motion to close the hearing?
I make a motion that we close the meeting for
Second.
tonight.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Please kill that.